Good morning, welcome to another Friday's micro workshop with Lulu. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. I love Fridays, or whenever you're watching this. It could be a Super Saturday or a Sensational Sunday. Okay, enough of the alliteration. So the last two workshops, one was on tarot and the other one was on runes. And I bet lots of you today are thinking, oh, I know, she's going to do astrology, but no, you're wrong there. I think now that we're getting into however many weeks we've been into lockdown and socially isolating and all this jazz, some of you now may be getting a little bit stir crazy. You've cleaned, you've rested, you've gone through Netflix. So I thought this week we would look more at maybe things that you can actually do within your home. Now, on my Facebook page, I have been wittering on about altars. So, yeah, this is a little bit what we're going to do. I want to take us through briefly an altar, a shrine, what you can do about them, and then I want to end by talking about the Book of Shadows. And this could involve me moving the camera and pausing this a couple of times, so you're just going to have to bear with me, my lovelies. Okay, so an altar. Why do we have an altar? So an altar is somewhere which is special, it is sacred. If we go back in time, no, before we do that, I'll tell you what. So, it's sacred, it's something place special. It's an area where we can focus. If we are doing spell weaving, we might use that as our place where we set everything out and we put the spell into being. We might leave things there to charge. Depending on your home situation, it could be that you have an altar already and it's out on plain view, fantastic. It could be you have to be in the broom closet, as I call it, and in which case, in the week on my FB page, I post up different suggestions of how you could do it. Lots of people would have a bureau a bit like this one is. So if I close this up, it's an ordinary sort of a writing desk, and it has a flip part that comes open, so you could hide things in there. You might have a drawer that you use. It could be a bread bin in the kitchen. It could be a jewellery box. It could be something that looks ordinary, but like a transformer, just looks like a car, but then it transforms into your altar. Okay, now, so there are different types of altars. There is the main altar that you would tend to have, that you might have, and let me say there's no right or wrongs with altars, it's personal for you. If I go through my altars, I tend to have over here an altar which is my main altar. Then I'm very fortunate because you know I've got my witchy poo room, so I have each of my walls are their own altar to the element, if you like. I have my air altar, my fire altar, my water altar, that's a bit of a tongue twister. Behind me I have my moon altar. I'm fortunate I can do that. I will then have, normally on my main altar will change if we've just had a Sabbath, one of our 8 special days. And I think when we first start along our pagan path, the temptation is to see lots of beautiful things and want to buy them to make our altars look wonderful. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing, because I've done that myself. I've had things bought for me, I have bought things and put on the altar. Are they the best type of altars? Not sure. Tell you why. An altar is another opportunity. Remember what I said, it's a sacred place. It is a place for you to connect your energy with the energy of the altar. But also, more importantly, it's a chance for you to focus on what the different things on the altar mean. Let me explain this in more detail. If on your altar, and we're going to talk about altar cloths in a minute, if on your altar you've got your everyday altar, so you have the 4 elements represented: earth, air, fire, water. See the handout that goes with this. Earth, air, fire, water. It could be that your earth element, I'll show you what my earth element tends to be a lot of times. I have this very lovely, it's from Stonehenge, and I have my salt in there. Right, why did I pick this? I chose this because when my youngest son was doing his degree down at Falmouth and Penrith, we went past Stonehenge so many times, and on one of the visits we actually went in there and we bought this, and this to me has so has all the memories of when we went down for Tobias in Cornwall, all of the fantastic times we had meeting his friends. So it means something to me. It also has the salt inside it. Because I'm hundreds and hundreds of years old, I can remember being a little girl and actually sitting on the stones of Stonehenge when it was allowed. And there's a photograph of me somewhere, of me sitting on the stones. So therefore, to me, that is the epitome of earth energy, getting that earth energy. So that is what I will have on there. On my fire part, I have several pieces of lava. One from Lanzarote when we went on a holiday, but another one that my aunt sent me when I was a little girl when she went to Hawaii. Therefore, that reminds me of my auntie. Yes, there's the fire energy there as well. So what I'm basically saying is, an altar, and I think sometimes the most powerful altars aren't necessarily things that have been shop bought, or even sometimes things that we've made. Sometimes it's more things that hold memories for us, and they can be really everyday objects. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is don't have a cluttered altar. My water altar at the moment is really, really cluttered because I love water, as you know, I should be a mermaid, so I've got hundreds of things on it. And I was looking at it the other day because I've been doing a lot of work in the lockdown on the lodge, Lulu's lodge, and some of those are going to go over onto my moon water wall that I'm creating there. So therefore, don't have it cluttered. One, if you're cluttered, it's like cluttering anywhere. There isn't anywhere for the energy to move, and there's just too many things. Secondly, it's also a working space, your altar. So if you've got lots of things on there, where are you going to have the space to have all the things for your spell ingredients, or to have maybe if you're sitting there, that's where you're deciding to write your book of shadows. So that's the next thing. So what do we have on our altar? There is a handout, and as I've said before, basically you're looking at the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water. However you choose to represent them, there isn't any right or wrong way. There are traditional things that you put. The cauldron, for example, is my cauldron. The cauldron is the water element. Lots of people use it for fire, I know, because it's heated underneath. But to me, it's very much the water. Now, in the Broom Book and Candle craft workshop, I say it's craft workshop, but it's a little bit more than that. So far, we've only been able to have one of them, which breaks my heart. We started off looking at the Book of Shadows. We made and consecrated and blessed our broomsticks. In the next one, which as soon as this lockdown finishes, we are looking at the part of the Broom Book and Candle BBC, as I call it, is looking at the water element on the altar. And that water element we can represent. I represent it with a cauldron with water in it. You can represent it through your chalice, your goblet. And if I just put that down there and here, this is what we're going to be doing, my Broom Book and Candle ladies. And if you want to join us, please feel to do so. Just contact me and I'll put your name down on the list. We are looking at our goblets, and I've got the glass goblets down there and the paint and all the whatnot. So that's the water element of, that's the water element. Something that represents water. It could just be a bowl with water. Okay, so if you're creating, and I would say even if you have an altar, let's revamp it. We've got time, let's revamp it. So, have you got a glass? Have you got a mug? Maybe it belonged to a relative who's no longer with you. Maybe it was a gift from someone. Have that. Let's make a really personal altar. So that could be a good start with water. With earth, I've explained with earth, basically it is earth. It can be a plant, it can be a rock, it can be a crystal, herb. I would have salt. Again, something that means something to you. If you're fortunate, if you've got a garden, go out into the garden, walk around, sit there. As you walk around, let the goddess call you. It could be a stone or something. Put that on, because you're connecting your energy, and it's fun. It's like going on a scavenger hunt, isn't it, in your home? So now let's think of our air element. So our air element, and I must admit I do struggle with air. I think it's because of just the nature of it. In my room, my air walls, I have all my books, because air is our learning, it's our intellect. it's also communication. So I have my books, and then now this is where we're all going to feel a bit seasick, because I'm going to move this around now so that you can see my air wall. Okay, so yeah, try not to feel too sick. Okay, let's have a look at the air wall. If you like, my altar there is on 3 shelves. I have on the left at the top musical instruments. I've got an Irish drum there that I got when I went on a rather raucous hen weekend to Dublin. I have an Egyptian drum that I got when I was at Luxor. I've got some Tibetan bells. I've got a bell from Venice, another drum from Tunisia. I've got a bell shaker thing from when I was teaching. Bluebells, if we look at our bluebells are the air element, and that also was, it's very precious to me. That was from my nanny. That's what I got it was always in Nanny's home, so that's a special reminder of her. Then I've got owls for wisdom. The goddess Athena, they were her symbols. You will also notice on the 3rd shelf down, I've got a series of flower guardians. Now, when we're talking about fae means all type of fairies. Fairies are not just Tinkerbell. The fairies like I have on that shelf there, and the ones for Tinkerbell, are actual guardians of flowers. Like we have our dryad, who is our guardian of a tree. They are guardian of petals. So yes, really, I suppose they should be on my earth wall, but I was going more with the wings. The actual elementals of air are siphons and sylphs. So maybe we'll do an elemental micro workshop in a week or so's time. Let me know. So I've then got a dream catcher. There's our dream catcher up there. And then I've got a barometer, and I've got my beautiful feathers there. The ones on the left are from Billy, thank you Emma, from the Goddess Circle. And then I have some peacock feathers there. Okay, so that is my air wall. So what for air would air mean to you? I have instruments there. If it was by a window, I would have wind chimes, okay? In fact, if we now move over to, this is where, please don't get sick. If we look over to my firewall, and you can't see now because the light's sitting it, hang on, whoops. No, you can't really see that, there's too much. So I'm going to bring you back round here again, bear with. I suppose I could pause this, but I'm in the flow. Okay, so you're doing your air. Look around, what means air to you? It could be an air freshener, it could be an incense stick, it could be, I don't know, and this is what I'm saying. What does it mean to you? Go around, have a look and see. On the firewall, fire, I have, as I said, I've got lava, I've got a little volcano that we got from Lanzarote, I've got dragons, the elemental salamander, phoenix, I've got a big phoenix on the wall, and I have lots of candles red. So this is what I'm saying. Make it fun, make it interesting for you to create now, in this lockdown period, your own altar. But keep in mind the reason why you're doing this. You are doing this so that you're being in contact, your energy is in contact with the things you have chosen. It means something to you. So this is your challenge, if you like. Those of you who haven't got an altar, now make one. Those of you who have, let's revamp it, or let's make a different altar. It could be if you've got a garden, you're thinking of having an altar outside. Now, what I will say about outside altars, and I think I've seen this several times, someone will start off to do an outside altar and it becomes a fairy grotto. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, remember the elements as well. In a way, the whole of a garden is an altar. It might be that in one part you have some form of a water feature. It might be in another part, that's where you might have your bonfire, your brazier, your cauldron. You might have wind chimes up. So therefore, I really feel that rather than having a designated area as an altar outside, make the whole of your outside space that altar, that special place. It could be that you have a tree which is your magic tree. I have my lilac tree, which I hang different things on during the course of the year, during the different Sabbaths. Really, again, challenge yourself. If you haven't got wind chimes, or if you have got wind chimes, have a go at making your own wind chimes. What have you got inside? Let's recycle, let's upcycle. What have you got inside that you could make wind chimes out of? Or you could make sun catchers out of? You've got some old CDs that you could hang up. Have you got anything, mirror or glass, that you could paint and do? When I was 13, I went to the art festival at La Jolla, and before you get there, all you hear are wind chimes. Because all of the art exhibitions and stalls at the time that we went had these beautiful wind chimes, but they were made from the bottoms of glass bottles, and that is the most beautiful sound out of all of the wind chimes. Absolutely wonderful. So that's what I'm saying. When you're thinking of your altar, think of your elements. Make it personal to you. Make things for your altar. Now, as I said, in my next BBC, Broom, Book and Candle, we're looking at everything to do with the water element, from the altar to the goddesses to what you're putting in your book of shadows, and I'm giving you information. But what the craft part of that is that we're going to be painting your goblets. I think you've all got a little bit beyond now painting jars for, what do we paint jars for? For fairy lanterns and for catching out moon water energy. I think we've got that. Now let's take it up a notch. So we're going to be looking at, as I said, our glass goblets, and we're going to be going into all of that. So at home, and this is now I'm bringing you to your cloths. When I first became a Wicca, and the first, I suppose, it was the coven that I joined in the training, we started off with an altar, you start from the base upwards. So therefore, this brings me to an altar cloth. Historically, the reason why there was an altar cloth as such was because if you was outside, which at the time, and really whenever you get the chance to do anything outside in the pagan way, do it. It's the natural, it's our natural temple, isn't it? Because of the secrecy of it, if you had your objects inside a piece of material and somebody came along, very quickly you would get it, and you just got them in a bag. That is the initial reason why it was a cloth. Now, I've got the cloths here. Yes, I'm unprepared earlier. I would say with an altar cloth, I like to harness the colour energy. Everything that we talk about, remember, is energy, it's a vibration. So therefore, go back to your chakras and the colours, it's because of the energy vibration, the frequency that they are working on. So therefore, I might decide at Christmas my altar might just be a piece of gold cloth, because I'm celebrating the birth of the Sun King. It could be at a Stara, I would have a yellow or green. You can just use colours, you can just use tissue paper. Okay, it's completely up to you. But when I was saying about investing your time and your energy, and it's also your focus, magic meditation is mindfulness. And I think at the moment, when we're starting to feel a bit wobbly, a bit uncertain inside, we need to be more mindful of what we're doing. So therefore, creating your own altar cloth is the most fantastic mindfulness energy. And you might say, yes, but I haven't got a piece of material, or I can't sew, or 300 other excuses. None of my altar cloths will have any sewn or embroidery on, because the Lulu doesn't sew or embroider, or anything like that. I use a glue gun and a staple. If you have any piece of material, it could be an old tablecloth, tea towel, pillowcase, anything. And if you've got some paint or felt tips, you can be crafty. You can create an altar cloth. So I want to take you through some of the basic ones, and I'm going to hold them up to see if you can see them. Oh, this one isn't too bad. Okay, this was the in bulk one. So for my in bulk one, I've got the colours of in bulk, which are red and yellow there. The actual we've got our pentagram in the middle, red, and I've drawn, this is purely me drawing using stencils, some stencils that I made, and some fabric pens, but ordinary pens, Sharpies work just as well. They might bleed through a bit, but just be mindful of it. So if I do this a bit closer, around my pentagram, I've done snowdrops, drawn snowdrops, because that's what was coming up at the time of in bulk. and I've got my symbols. You can do whatever you want to at the side. Then I'm just going to rest that on here. This is my moon altar. So in general, my moon altar that I have up during the month is here, and I've got this on a pre-made piece of cloth. And also, if you buy altar cloths, I think they're really, really expensive, but maybe I'm just tough. I do think they're very expensive. So look at this one. Here, I've used purple, because I'm a purple type of girl. I'm kind of hold it up again. So this is what I would get out on a full moon, on if it was a dark moon, if it was if I was doing specific moon magic. Okay, I have my moon symbol in. Let's turn it around the right way. I have in the centre my triple goddess moon symbol. I have the crescent for the new moon, which is our maiden goddesses. Then I have the circle representing our full moon, our mother goddess, and then our crescent moon, the waxing moon, representing our crone goddesses. Then either side I have the different sections of the moons and the pentagrams. I've kept that pretty clear and plain, because normally I put lots of things on it. I'll have my moon water charging and different things like that. If I just show you my moon altar here, I've got some hagstones that I collected last time I was on the beach that I have on there. I have, what else do I have? I've got my moon wands, which we made at a moon workshop. In Broombook and Candle, we're going to have a whole, one of our sessions is going to be when we look at the fire and air element, we will look at wands. So these are my moon wands, and these were just made out of clay with the crystals at the end. Okay, so that sort of thing, give you an idea. Now, this would be my basic everyday altar cloth. So if let's put it in the right way. If we look at it, in the centre I've got the pentagram, which is our 4 symbols: earth, air, fire and water, and then spirit at the top. Then I have the symbols for fire, earth, air and water, which are the different triangles, the colours that correspond, and then here these are the astrological symbols and glyphs. Okay, it might be that I might want to add some other symbols to that, but I was keeping it quite plain as well. So that's giving you some ideas. The other one, which is over here, which is now really going to make you feel seasick, this at the moment is my current altar. It's my Astara altar, which I loved it so much, and I have moved a few bits around. So with the Astara altar, here in the middle we have the symbol for Astara. Then, sorry, there I've got, let me put you over there a second. Then I did some daffodils, the yellow and green, the eggs, daffodils, and I carried on the symbolism. Okay, so even if we look at this altar, this is my star altar. I've had this for donkey's years. First when my guys were young, so that was on there. I've got my green candle. This I think is a combination, and this is what I said, there's nothing wrong with having bought things. I'm not saying that at all. It's just that, do they mean something special to you? Mine do, because my son's bought me these. I've then got the goddess and the god and the candlesticks, and I've got a card with a star up, and I've got my Astara doll that I made with my sisters, and my salt lamp. And here I have my earth elementals, which are my dwarves and my gnomes. Okay, so let's, oh, and I also have crushed egg shells here. So I'm just going to put this back again. Sorry, you're feeling seasick. Have some ginger. Right, so that's altars. An altar is a place that is special, it's sacred to you. You can have an altar in any room. I've talked before about a kitchen altar, and I've put that on the Facebook page, and a bathroom altar. A kitchen altar can just be a shelf. Mine is a shelf in my kitchen. You can witchy it up as much as you want to. Again, I think the best one is literally, you can have salt to represent earth, you could have a pepper or chili flakes for fire. You could have just a little bowl of water for the water element. For air, pardon me, I have a little whisk. This is what I'm saying, there's no wrong or right ones. The other thing that you can then bring in is a goddess or a god. Now, again, it depends who you are working with, who is special to you. And this is something fantastic now. If you haven't got a god or a goddess, and I must admit, I do work a lot with goddesses, so let's think about goddesses, shall we? If you haven't got a goddess that you are in a relationship with, now is the perfect time. Find one. Find one that means something to you. And for that you need to explore. Egypt, ancient Greece, Norse mythology, Celtic mythology, Romans. The Romans pinched all the Greek ones, but there are still some good ones in there. Go through and look at them. Who is calling to you? Now, you saw I have got the goddess of star on my star altar. On my kitchen altar indoors, I have the goddess Vestia Hestia, Greek Roman, who is the goddess of the hearth. She's very much the home goddess. For my actual here in my room above my working desk is, I'm very, very associated with the moon goddesses. So here we have, and I don't know if you can see her, this is Diana Artemis, okay, so I have her there. At different times you will work with different deities because you need their energy at that time. When I first started on the path, Isis and I, we were like that. It's not that I've abandoned Isis, but they are there for you to learn, for you to get the energy that you need at that time. And then as you change, so the energy changes. And then another goddess is important to you. Or it could be a god at times, and you harness that energy. That's why I love Norse mythology so much with the runes, because it really comes through there. And we looked previously at how strong goddesses like Freya, when we need to have that strength and that courage energy. So again, I'm just looking now at my firewall, and that would be the goddess Pele. Find out about these goddesses, find out about their stories, what they represent. This is the perfect time to do it. And then start having that relationship with them. You talk to them, you pray to them, you include them in your conversations. I'm talking to them all the time. People around me are used to me being, as they say, natty, and then that means it's another part of when you're creating that altar, this special place, then you could have a picture of your god or your goddess. You could draw one yourself, or you could have something that reminds you of them there. I hope this all makes sense. So this is, if you like, my challenge for you, your project. If you have an altar, and an altar is a changing thing, it should always change, and I think they should always look different. The Sabbath's our 8 special days. Each of my altars looks very different, because they should look different, because they are celebrating a different turning of the wheel. So therefore, the altar cloth, the colours that you're using, the things you're putting on there should be different, okay? So whether you're doing that, now I said about shrines. A shrine is normal where you have one specific deity or one thing that you are talking to. So it could be, think of it in the bathroom. In the bathroom, I've got a big seashell, and I used to have, when we visited Bath, which is the site, it is the most holiest of our goddess sites, if you like. I know we've got Glastonbury, but that is actually the site of Sulis Minerva, the water goddess of springs and of healing. She was Sulis, and then the Romans, appreciating her importance, then put Minerva on her. I have a statue, and she's over there at the moment on my water altar. I had her in the bathroom, but because of the humidity in there and what she was made of, her neck kept breaking. Sorry. My son was really lovely. The last time he was down Bath Way, he bought me one. He went in there and he said, I've got to get this for my mum. What I'm saying is, so Sulis, I connect with the bathroom. Aphrodite, I connect very much with the bathroom, or with my dressing table, the vanity side, you know, when you're making yourself look good, or just that love that is there. With Sulis Minerva, it's the healing, so that you can bring that energy through. If you think of a medicine cupboard that you might have herbs in there, you might have paracetamol, I don't know. But okay, look up. Who are our goddesses of healing? Who are our gods of healing? Hygiena was the goddess of cleansing. So therefore, this is where you can do it all the time. It could be you've got a cupboard where you keep all your bleaches and disinfectants. If you've got ink, if you've got a printer, find a picture of Hygiena, and I think I mentioned her a couple of weeks back. Put her on the inside cupboard. This is just your way. It's your daily magical pagan practice. And this is a great chance now. Look at your home, look at your environment, look at what you're doing, look at it through pagan eyes. The last thing I want to mention, because I'm rattling on with this one, is your Book of Shadows. Now, here is my Book of Shadows. Yes, it's lovely, isn't it? It is your quintessential one. However, for years and years and years and years and years, I had little booklets, I had folders with see-through leaves in, I would find different bits and I would put in there. Thinking about it now, I think I needed to be a little bit more organised, because I literally have in one of on my bookshelf 3 or 4 folders with all sorts of things in there, all igglety-pigglety. So every now and then I'll think of something and I'll think, oh, and it takes me hours to search for it. So therefore, this is my lovely Book of Shadows, which is a work in progress. I hope I never finish it, because I can still add leaves to it. So in the first, and as I say, we only managed to do one broom book and candle before everything happened, but I discussed the broom book and the Book of Shadows. It is a personal book. You have a Book of Shadows and you have grimoires. Grimoires more are little books to do with one particular thing. If I just close this up for 2 ticks, I have this grimoire here. It's got a mermaid on it. It was a gift from my friend Debs. Hi Debs. Which I had for all of my tarot things. All of my tarot I put in there. You could have another grimoire which might be for herbs. You might have another one which could be, if you've got a magic kitchen recipe book, what we do now, kitchen witchery, that could be a grimoire. Basically a Book of Shadows, it's your personal writing of things down. It's like your witch's diary, your almanac. It's a little bit of all of those things, but it's very personal. Now I have, with mine, as you can see, I've got different, you can't really see because I've got different colours, and each of these different colours are different things. The gold was for the Sabbats, the blue, I've got blue there, which is for my moon, my pink is for my goddesses, and I've got a purpley one which was for spells and herbs and crystals and all sorts. So this is why I started off, and again, this really is a sacred act that you are doing when you write in your Book of Shadows. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can, you've just got a notebook. It can be whatever you want it to be. I know that you can have them now on computers. I'm not a fan, because the whole point is that it's personal to you. It shouldn't be printed. It shouldn't be on a computer. It is a sacred book for you. It is your personal energy making contact with the energy of the book and what you are putting in there. So here, I can't see, I'm looking at this upside down. What was this one? I started with in bulk. So with in bulk, I wrote down the spells, what in bulk means. And I've left so many pages because I'm going to keep filling it. Here with a star, I did the daffodil, correspondences. I then put in here, I'm coming closer so that you can see. Okay. Ooh. Okay. How do you make an eggshell charm? What I had on my altar. So that it's a reference for me. As I go through with the different things, let me have it here, just so I can show you. Here I looked at flower power, the magic of flowers, what they represent. And that's the Book of Shadows. If you have herbs, okay, think about a herb, look at the herb. You might want to draw it, you might want to write your own little musings. It might be that all of a sudden you learn about a goddess and you think, oh, I want to write about her. It's very much a personal book. It's your book where you put your spells, what you've noticed, anything that you want to, but I would organise it so you don't get into the mess I did. First of all, think, what areas do I want to put in my book of shadows? Again, at the witchy class, at Rum Book and Candle, we're going to be going into this in more detail. It's just an idea now for you to start to get a practice with. Maybe if you haven't got a fancy book, but you just got a book and you think, okay, Book of Shadows, right, well, Lulu's mentioned about goddesses. We looked at tarot cards the other day. We also looked at runes. What else? Oh, and the moon. I know about the moon. I know about the full moon. So just start jotting those down, writing them down, thinking about your own practice. When you've made moon water, what have you done? So this is a book which is yours for life. It's a sacred book. It's your energy is charged to it, and you can do whatever you want to with it. There are no right or wrongs. This is a personal, magical diary, come conscious, come encyclopedia that you are creating.